It's your 2022 Big Ten Championship preview. I am your host, James Yoder. You're watching the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. Really excited about this game. Really excited for Michigan to get back to championship level where they, frankly, before last season, it had been 17 years going back to the 2004 season where Michigan had split Big Ten title. 2003, the outright Big Ten champions. They went back-to-back that year, but it was before the Big Ten championship game that has been around for about 11, 12 seasons right now. So Michigan's second Big Ten championship game. Purdue will be in the Big Ten championship game for the first time. And Michigan's trying to go 13-0, folks. 13-0 for the first time in program history. Now, it's a little bit of a slanted stat. And Ohio State fans sometimes, they use these kooky stats like, well, Michigan's only had this many 12-win seasons and this many 11-win seasons. Ohio State's had so many more. Well, Ohio State's best 10, 15-year run is in the era of 12-game regular seasons, and some of Michigan's worst seasons are in that era, 2008 to 2014, and then, of course, 2020. So I think it's a very slanted stat. But nevertheless, Michigan has never had a 13-win season, and, of course, have never been 13-0, of course, as they have never had a 13-win season in general. All right, guys, predict the score. Michigan, Purdue. Jack and I are sticking to our picks. I am saying 31-13 Michigan. They kind of just play it simple, play it easy, play it not too exciting, not trying to get anybody hurt, trying to get the win, get the championship, move on to the college football playoff. But to predict the score, I'm saying 31-13. Jack's saying 35-14. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments and here on the YouTube live chat. Let's start the show talking about Will Johnson from a kind of keys to the game, focusing on what to watch for this game against Purdue. Will Johnson, if you haven't realized it, and I'm not sure if I didn't or did realize it, you see him on the field so many times, you see him nonstop, but he has basically supplanted Gemon Green after Green got hurt against Michigan State in the tunnel after the game, started every game leading up to that, didn't make the road trip to Rutgers. Will Johnson got the start in that game, and outside of them starting Gemon Green against Illinois for Senior Day, Will Johnson became the starter later on in that game. He played more snaps than Gemon Green. So I think it is pretty fair to say that Will Johnson has now supplanted Gemon Green. Good problem to have that you've got four corners, including Mike Sainer still as a nickel, there for this program. He is your cute quarterback, too, outside of DJ Turner. Let's take a look at the last four games for Michigan's five-star cornerback. 73 snaps against Ohio State. 73 snaps, one of the top amongst any player, any position. 8 tackles, 7 solo tackles, 1 assisted tackle. The prior week against Illinois, he didn't start. Senior Day, Gemon Green got the start, 48 snaps and 4 tackles. And then Nebraska did get the start. Rutgers, on the road, did get the start. Didn't have any tackles in that one, which I guess is surprising, but maybe not considering that Rutgers doesn't really throw the ball that often. So Will Johnson, starter for this Michigan football team as a true freshman. And with him, Mason Graham and Colson Loveland, you're starting to develop a hell of a core of impact players as true freshmen this season. Michigan's now favored by 17 points over the Boilermakers. 52 points is the over-under. December 3rd, coming up on Saturday, 8 o'clock on Fox. Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson will be on the call. I think they become my favorite duo by far. I think Michigan's going to cover the 17-point spread. I'll make my quick score prediction right now, Jack. What do you think? What do you got, Jack? What is your score prediction? No? You got to guess. You watch all the games with me. Okay, I'm going to make mine. You got 10 seconds to make your score prediction. My score prediction, and those of you watching live, toss your score predictions in there. We'll ask you later in the show as well. I'm going to go Michigan 31, Purdue 13. So I'm going to go 18 points. They're going to win by 1, and that would actually be 1 less than the over-under. So I would go Michigan with the spread and the under. Jack, on the spot.
35-14.
35-14. So Jack thinks a little bit more for Michigan than I did. What did I say, 38? 38-13? Okay, so is my math off? 25? Yeah, I was thinking, Jack, what did I say? Rewind the tape. I said 31-13. Yeah, 31-13. So I guess it's much below the over/under. So Jack, thinks Michigan will score a couple more points, but same range, 3 or so score game. Michigan gets the job done against a Purdue team that, look, I didn't really consider. Michigan doesn't play Purdue. They play them next year, but they haven't played them in 5 years at this point. I don't pay a ton of attention to Purdue, but I've spent the last 2 days really diving into their film, watching a few of the games on Big Ten Network in 60, and I do think that Michigan's got a hell of a lot more talent than this Purdue team. As you guys know, we partner with BetUS for college football, NFL, NBA, World Cup betting. Right now, you're betting the World Cup. You want to have a little USA going on and take part in the United States getting that victory over Iran. They're playing on Saturday, right? Playing on Saturday. What time is that game at? 1 o'clock or something like that? Early in the morning? Got it. Promo code is GoBlue. You get 125% deposit bonus. So you got to use the link at the bottom of the screen, chatsports.com/GoBlue, to be kind of redirected to this promo. Because, and Jack, if you could toss it in the live chat, we're bringing back the jersey deal for the Big Ten championship game into the college football playoff. We're going to keep running this bad boy all the way until Sunday, until the Michigan football matchup against the college football playoff is announced. Here's what you got to do. Screenshot this, write it down, whatever you got to do, pause it, whatever you have to do, follow his instructions to a T, and we'll get you the free jersey for being a new customer of our sports betting partner, BetUS. Chatsports.com/GoBlue. Do it from your computer. It'll drop you onto the sign-up page. Use promo code GoBlue when you deposit $100 or more. 125% deposit bonus. Make your first bet, and email us at jersey@chatsports.com. Boom! We'll get you the Jordan Brand #1 Michigan football jersey, size of your choice. We'll just need your account number when you email us, and then we'll confirm it against the report. That's why it's so vital that you use the link, chatsports.com/GoBlue, and use that promo code GoBlue. You show up in this report, boom, we confirm, and then we will get the jersey out to you. We'll get your size and address and ship that bad boy off to you. If you do it this week, folks, we'll get this promotion going on. You will have that one well before Christmas Day, well before in time for the college football playoff on December 31st. All right, your Big Ten championship. It is Michigan. It is in Purdue on Saturday night. Michigan hasn't played Purdue since 2007, the famed Brandon Peters game, if you guys recall that one, when I think it was the one that, what's his name, Willenspace got hurt, Peters came in. Man, I'm forgetting that game, honestly, but I should know better a little bit there. But first outright Big Ten West Division title after a 30-16 win over Indiana, the first Big Ten championship game in program history. Only one game versus Michigan in Jim Harbaugh's 8 years as a head coach. It was the 2017 season, 28-10. Michigan was the final score. Their quarterback, Aiden O'Connell, has been a little pass happy, folks. He has been throwing that ball around the stadium all season long. At 452 passing attempts through 12 games, they're averaging 36.66 passing attempts per game, about 12 or so more than Michigan has averaged so far this season. 22 picks and 11 interceptions. I don't want to shout out from Thomas Weber. Thomas, you're getting a shout out. The team here on the YouTube live chat. But Aiden O'Connell, the quarterback the Michigan will face, he has had an emotional last week, right? He played this past weekend's game against Indiana with the death of his brother looming over his head. So he made a statement just in the last couple days. He says, "My family and I would like to express our gratitude for the love and support we've received over the past few days. We are deeply saddened to share of the passing of my oldest brother, Sean." He goes on to say, "Sean was not only one of the Purdue football's biggest fans, but he was a better son, brother, and friend. He lit up any room, walked in, and all that knew him testified to his contagious joy." So, terrible thing to hear about. I saw it last week, but I don't know if it dinged in my mind that it was the quarterback's brother. Sometimes you're just like, oh, okay, you see it across the ticker, and then Michigan's playing this team, and it starts to hit home for him. So he played against Indiana and got the win and a chance at the Big Ten championship, a Big Ten West title, knowing that his brother passed away. Cause of death is unknown. It was somebody young. I'm not sure if we want to know or disclose that, but outside of the game on Saturday, pulling for his family that they are able to get over the loss of a brother, and for his parents for a son way before his time. So condolences to Purdue's quarterback Aiden O'Connell and his family. The player that he'll be throwing to, maybe one of the best receivers, maybe not talent-wise all the time, but certainly production-wise, is Charlie Jones. You will see him on the field, number 15. Look at the stats he's got so far this year, folks. When I pulled it up, and sometimes you're caught off guard because you're like, wait a second, Purdue, they throw the ball? Okay, cool. 97 catches. I want to just talk a little bit about what he's done so far this year. You can leave it on this with his stats here, Jack. But in games, in the opener this year, against Penn State, 12 catches, 153 and a touchdown. He had 3 touchdowns against Indiana State in their second game. He had 11 catches, 188, and 2 touchdowns against Syracuse. Some other games. Now, he had a few game stretch against FAU, Minnesota, and Maryland where he didn't go over 100 yards. But then 12 catches, 132, 2 touchdowns against Nebraska, 10, 105 against Wisconsin, and then 11 for 104 against Iowa. Had 66 yards, 46 yards, and then finished it up against Indiana with 4 catches, 143, and a touchdown. All in, he's got 1,200 yards, nearly 100 catches, and 12 touchdowns on the year. What a season for Charlie Jones. He'll be working with Aiden O'Connell to try and take advantage of a Michigan football secondary. Folks, we are growing like weeds. Appreciate everyone who's watching, everyone who's supported the show over the last 3, coming up on 4 years. We launched this channel on YouTube in early 2019. So kind of as the calendar turns, the end of this year, we'll be going to, finishing up our 4th season on YouTube. Appreciate everyone who has, been along for the ride. I know a ton of names. I've made a ton of internet friends with a bunch of you guys, and we certainly appreciate it. We started actually, Jack, I don't know if you know this, we started in the 2016-17 season on Facebook Live, did that for a couple of years, but it wasn't nearly the type of content we do now. It was more live, and it was maybe like once or twice a week, but now on YouTube, we are approaching 24,000 subscribers. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. And if you have and you've been a subscriber and you think your friends would like the show, grab that link, youtube.com/MichiganTV. Send it to a friend. Tell them to subscribe. Subscribers really help on YouTube because it's kind of like a checkbox of, the quality of the content that we put out, and YouTube knows who Michigan football fans are, right? They know everything about you. They know everything about you. They're owned by Google, and they say, well, this guy over here, Jack, he loves Michigan football. He watches this channel. Maybe these other people who fall in the same category love about Michigan football. They'll want to watch it too. So the more subscribers, the better for the channel. Michigan's defense, 20 points given up in the second half the last 7 games. They are now number 2. They gave up a lot of yards to Ohio State passing, like 350 yards or so in the air for Coldred Stroud. But now they're number 2 nationally in total yards, number 11 in passing yards. All right, they've dropped like 2 spots, 1 spot. Last week they were number 1 in yards, maybe number 2 in points, and now they dropped down to 3. They dropped from like number 9 to 11. Number 3 rushing defense, number 3 total points defense. I would expect that after this game, I'm not sure if the passing will improve there, but I would guess that the rushing and the points, Michigan probably pops up to number 2, number 1, have an opportunity to become the number 1 defense in all of college football heading into the CFP. Because the offense they're going against with Purdue is not a juggernaut at all. You take a look at the stats there, you take a look at the rankings on screen. 406 yards. That's number 52 nationally. The only area they really excel, folks, is in the passing game, right? We saw with Aiden O'Connell and his passing stats, and they're number 21 in the country, 280 yards a game. It's a much better passing attack than Michigan has right now. Without taking a shot at J.J. McCarthy, Michigan struggled at passing down the stretch of the season. Points, still not that great, 28.9 points per game, but they've got some talent. We talked about Aiden O'Connell. We talked about Charlie Jones. We'll talk more weapons here in a second, but I want to know from you guys, we said at the top of the segment, predict the score, Michigan-Purdue. I can't remember what I said, but I'm going to say, I think I said 31-13. I think, Jack, you said 35-14. 35-14. So Jack and I are pretty much in concert. I think Michigan will do everything they can with Blake Corum is not going to play, Luke Schoonmaker, Mike Morris not expected to play. Maybe even some others. We'll see how things shake out on the rest of the week heading into this game. But I don't expect Michigan to try and have style points. Last year they went for style points. They had 2 backup running backs that they could go to. Blake Corum, backup running back. Donovan Edwards, who threw a touchdown pass last year. They had 4 backup tight ends behind Eric All that could have played. They had a 5-star backup quarterback. The depth on certain positions is just not there to risk it this year. I mean, hell, Mike Morris just won Big Ten Defensive Lineman of the Year, folks. He was the backup last year behind a first-round draft pick, a second-round draft pick that are in the NFL now. Aiden Hutchinson might win NFL Rookie of the Year. So I'm going 35-13. I think Michigan's just going to get a 2-score lead, put in some backups. I think they'll treat this like a game early on in the season, and they're not going to go for style points that they don't need, frankly. At this point, 35-13. I got a few shots here. Cornelius Canamore says 42-10, 38-13 from Henry. Let's see, 31-21. Matt, the closer game than I think. Pat Shelton says 44-20 Michigan. Iceman Comp says pay Yoder. I agree with that. Pay me. Pay Minter says Tim, and then Iceman says pay Yoder. Look, I'll take it either way. Terry Powers says 38-10. Josh Sherwood, my guy. Josh, we've got you up on the helmet twice. He says 56-10 Michigan. Thanks so much for those score predictions. And if you're watching on demand, put them down in the comments. Purdue's tight end is one of the best in the country, maybe potentially the best in the Big Ten. Certainly one of the top tight ends in the Big Ten. He's had a hell of a season so far. The senior, and the expectation from what I at least understand is that he will be back next year unless he decides to go to the NFL, but he's got eligibility. 54 catches, 550, and 8 touchdowns. Good touchdown production. Most notably, looking at his stats, he gets typically an average game for him is like 5 catches, 50 yards, 40 yards, 60 yards, 70 yards. He's only had 100-yard game so far this year against Maryland, 7 catches, 109, and a touchdown. He did have 9 catches, 83 yards, and 2 touchdowns against Syracuse. Also had 7 for 70 and 2 touchdowns against Illinois. Last week against Indiana, 4 catches for 39 yards and a touchdown along of 15 for that one. But on their defensive side of the ball, one player that we want to point out there is their defensive end, Jack Sullivan. He's got a great mustache. He really does. 5.5 sacks so far on the season. Was honored earlier this week, just in various all Big Ten, second team, third team, etc. His biggest impact so far this year has been his impact has been spread out. Every 33 tackles so far this year, 5.5 sacks. No one game has he had like a wild impact and went down. So his production is pretty much the same. He gets about 4 to 5 tackles per game, and he gets a sack every other game. And that's been pretty consistent. There's not like a 4-sack or 3-sack game in there that you have to worry about. So keep an eye out for him. Number 99 coming off the edge for Purdue. It is Jack Sullivan. All right, so thinking forward to this Saturday and Friday's games. USC's playing on Friday. I'm really excited to watch that game. If Michigan wins against Purdue, as long as Georgia doesn't lose to LSU, they're playing out in Arizona. And why do I say that with such confidence? Well, they try and geographically place the number 1 seed gets geographical preference. So Georgia in Athens, they're 80 minutes away from Atlanta. They are going to take that game in Atlanta. And frankly, if Michigan becomes the number 1 seed, let's say Georgia loses, Michigan's going to take Atlanta too, right? Think about Michigan fans. It's a 14-hour drive down from Detroit down to Atlanta, 15-hour drive. It is not a drivable distance unless you're going to take 2 days to do it, to drive to the greater Phoenix, Arizona, Glendale, Arizona. So thinking about going forward, the semifinals are in Phoenix area, in Atlanta area, downtown Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Georgia wins, they're going to take that one. And I think if Michigan loses, they're not going to fall below the number 3 seed. I don't think. TCU could potentially jump them, but I think they would still be the 3, even with a loss to Purdue. But we'll see. I'm putting win there because I'm not 100% confident. Michigan could fall to number 4 if TCU and USC are just super dominant and Michigan looks like crap. But if you are trying to go to that game, get your hotel reservations, get your plane tickets for Tempe, Arizona. As long as the second that Georgia gets the win on Saturday, they're going to play before Michigan. I would make those reservations. Then you'll have 24 hours to cancel them. Get ahead of the rush. All right, if you were part of the Michigan football squad, you were watching the end of our second mailbag video that we're going to put out on game day morning on Saturday. Let's see some squads. I'll give some shout out from the live chat, but I'm going to go in and reply and like and thumb up to every single person who types in squad on the on-demand video that we'll put up on YouTube here coming up in a couple days. So keep typing your squads. If you are watching now, you means you've lasted nearly 3 hours with us here live on Tuesday night, or you're watching the end of a 15 or so minute video, 20-minute video, live Q&A on Michigan football game day. The Wolverines going to get a Big Ten championship against Purdue. So go ahead and type squad. It's the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. We will be back Saturday night after the Big Ten championship game, of course, for our post-game show, and live 11:45 a.m. for the College Football Playoff final rankings, Michigan football's playoff opponent on Sunday.